Good evening, everybody. I'm Andrew. Now, the people that know me would say that I'm quite determined, perhaps even stubborn. And if I set my mind to a challenge, then I'll do it. So, growing up, I never wanted to be a doctor. But through my sheer drive and determination, I've been able to achieve that. I became a fake doctor instead. Check out those dimples. I don't have a medical degree or a PhD, and I don't use the title. But just like the other presenters here who are real doctors, I'm allowed to call myself one because I am a chiropractor. And yes, somehow we managed to convince the government to let us use those initials in front of our name. Now, if only I can convince my parents it's legit. I always dreamt of being a chiropractor. It's actually the only thing I ever wanted to do. From the age of 10, when I went to one with a sore back, and I realised that I could make a living out of breaking things. I mean, helping people. Over the last few years, I've taken up lots of new activities, and to be honest, and I'm sure my friends in here will agree, I'm pretty rubbish at most of them. One thing I am quite good at is breaking things. I currently work at UNSW teaching anatomy and clinical skills to physiotherapy students. Really, the only reason that I took the job was to have somebody's kids listen to me. On my other work days, you can find me down in the Shire. Not this Shire, where I practice. And yes, like GPs, we call it practice because we're still trying to figure out what it is we actually do. Tonight, I'd like to talk about tendons, The Matrix, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito. I want to give you some clinical insights so you can be a fake doctor too. People often present with tendon problems like tennis elbow, rotator cuff injuries, lateral hip pain, and the equally important but much less discussed shagger's hip. Different tendon injuries affect men and women differently and at different ages. Through overuse and, let's be fair, poor decision making, it's unsurprising that younger males have more tendon injuries related to trauma and overuse. And although it's not a competition that anybody wants to win, women overtake men around menopause, largely due to changing hormone levels. But I won't mansplain that one. Tendon problems will often present with morning stiffness that gets better with movement. And for the guys in here who were thinking it, I am not talking about that morning stiffness. It's also common for your pain levels to improve with activity and then for it to return even 24 hours later. With tennis elbow pain, so pain on the outside of your elbow, it's common to have pain and problems lifting a kettle or a mug or even lifting the disappointment on your parents' face when you become a fake doctor. And you may have seen me limp before and thinking that I have my own problems, and you would be right, but mine are largely self-inflicted and due to a recent skiing holiday. I told you I was good at breaking things. While I break bones is pretty important, and especially when they're in one piece, I want to explain why tendons are important as well. Tendons are the structures that join muscles to bones. Everyone will be familiar with their Achilles. Not that Achilles, this Achilles. The tendon that joins your calf muscle to your heel. And while muscles contract and generate the force, it's the tendon that transfers this force from one end to the other. It's because of the tendons that we move when a muscle contracts. Healthy tendons are shiny and white. They're pearly and iridescent, and they're super strong, like this one in the shoulder. Unhealthy tendons are dull, and they lose their shine, both physically and emotionally. So rather than good and bad, the health of a tendon sits more on a sliding scale, with completely healthy at one end, and at the other end, completely stuffed. The health of a tendon is determined by its ability to manage and adapt to load. Now, my preference is to do the breaking, obviously, but sometimes I need to do the fixing because tendons can wear out. This doesn't happen uniformly across the tendon, where parts of the tendon can be in different stages at the same time. A bit like how you get judged for your life choices by different people at the same time. So now let's get into the detail. The thing that makes up most of the tendon is something called the matrix. The matrix is the world where everything happens. It's pretty much everything that isn't a cell. The main component is something called collagen. These long fibres of collagen are like a rope that align along the length of the tendon, and the collagen provides the structure for the tendon to do its job. The main cells of the tendon are called tenocytes. Now these little legends are in charge. They live in and around the collagen, and they're responsible for repairing and maintaining the matrix. When working properly, it's these cells that are supporting the tendon. Kind of like the parents that you should have. Think of these as Arnold Schwarzenegger cells. They defend and maintain the tendon. Through repetitive injury and abnormal loading, these ARNI cells can get muscled out by molecules called proteoglycans. These are a normal part of the tendon, but they become possessive and they take over. We're going to call these Danny DeVito molecules. The body produces these because it hopes that Danny DeVito can buffer and protect the tendon. But the reality is it just can't do the job that ARNI and the collagen can do. So over time, the health of the tendon declines. You get more Danny DeVitos, and at some point, the tendon can't do its job anymore. By the time you have pain, you have, let's say, 6 out of 10 Danny DeVitos. So what can we do about it? Exercise is super important. Danny DeVito is sitting in his chair drinking pina coladas. But luckily, we can ignore Danny and we can focus on ARNI and give him back his gym membership. But we do need to be careful how we do it. We want to get the maximum results without pushing it to breaking point. Even the real ARNI needed rest to be strong. Now, muscles work in 3 different ways. Concentrically, like when we lift up a weight with our arm. Eccentrically, when we lower that weight. And isometrically, where we support the weight but we don't move. So muscles will move up and down like a yo-yo, or go nowhere, like my love life. All 3 types of movement are really important, but there are 2 special kinds. Isometric exercises have been shown to have a positive impact on pain, to be really well tolerated, and to improve muscle activation. It basically provides the emotional support for you to get started. Eccentric exercises, I think, are pretty cool because you can do the same movement with a heavier weight. If you're able to lift a 10 kilo weight, you can lower a 12 kilo weight. Both of these are useful because we need to stress the tendon, and not like in a yelly kind of freak out way, but they need to be challenged to grow. There's also lots of other things that we can do. Manual therapy, taping, bracing, activity modification, orthotics, but exercises should be a key part of any rehab program. And while it feels good to stretch, it's often better if we don't do too much. Lots of stretching can irritate the tendon, especially where it attaches to the bone. So sometimes things have gone too far. Danny's had way too many pina coladas, and we can't make ARNI strong enough. Things at this point are completely stuffed. And that's when cortisone injections or even surgery might be considered. It's much easier if you guys stop breaking things. Leave that to me. But if you have too many Danny DeVitos in your life, you at least know how to get started. But what would I know? I'm only a fake doctor. Thank you.